Hello, everybody out there. Welcome to Kids Are Talking. This is episode 24. We have a great show today. We're going to be talking about gaming and gambling. We have two returning panelists from our epic show, episode 22. And we have two new guests. We have a whole range of people. I'm hanging out here with Mario, with Sonic. I got Snake. I got Alice from Resident Evil. I don't know what characters we're going to talk about. There's lots of games. But I know everybody has a lot to say. So let's get rolling. If you have any comments, put them in the chat. We'll try to bring them up on the screen. And don't forget to subscribe because then we can send you all our new episodes as they come out. So we're going to roll the credits and we'll see you in 1 minute because kids are talking.
I think that we should probably start listening to each other.
I really just want to hear everyone's different perspectives and let everyone know that they're not alone because we're all going through the same thing. And, if I can inspire hope in any of the listeners, that'd be amazing.
Not only to get what you want in life, but to do things that you want to do to influence the world in the way you want.
It's also very important that you go out of your way to educate yourself. And by watching the show and watching other things and reading things like the show, you are doing your job for that.
Love over hate. There's more love that needs to be out there. First, being empathetic, compassionate, and have a thorough discussion. People listening with compassion and openness is going to go a long way.
Everybody's always going to be struggling with mental health, yet nobody will know about it. A lot of students, a lot of children aren't really given the resources they need. Things are just getting worse, so I think it's really important to try and spread the message. Just get that, extra 5% of feeling secure in their person.
Dr. Don? Can y'all hear me?
We hear you, Willie.
We hear her, don't we?
Don, you ready to talk about gaming?
I tell you, some of these shows I come on here, I'm really challenged. This is another one of those really unknowns for me. But I'll tell you, we really have a very dynamic group tonight. We've never had this kind of age range or dynamic of so many different generations on one show at the same time, talking about a topic that really doesn't get a lot of attention.
Well, it gets, everybody's always streaming the games and everyone's playing the games, but people aren't really talking about the games and how it's affecting them and what they like to do. And
it's a phenomenon now in America, right? I mean, kids are like, seems like gaming and gambling, and people are going to want to know what the relationship of those two things are, is something that is really prevalent for kids around America and probably even beyond America. And no one is really doing a talk show on it. So what a way to start the new year on Kids Are Talking. I mean, it's certainly, I always have a lot to learn, but I think tonight I really have a lot to learn.
Have you played any video games?
Absolutely no.
No games.
I'm back in Nintendo and
well, I had a Nintendo when it first came out.
Pac-Man,
Super Mario.
I'm back to Pac-Man, Mike.
Oh, okay, Pac-Man. Yeah.
I'm really dating myself, aren't I?
Well, at least you skipped the Pong era. So let's bring out all our guests.
All right, let's bring them on. And I know, Mike, this is a show that you're looking forward to having some fun with.
Well, I'm a gamer, so
I'll be counting on you tonight, Mike, to be a gamer and come in and bail me out.
Okay. All right. So we have Sume, we have Isla. We have Isla, and we have Nick and Kieran. Hopefully I got everybody's names right.
Yeah. And Greg is back there somewhere. Where's Greg?
We have Greg. Oh, Greg's here too.
Where's Greg? Greg, we're going to bring you out, man. I was going to keep you backstage for 45 minutes, but you know what? Let's just let it all hang out tonight because you are an expert on this. I wanted you on tonight because you're such an expert and have been involved in this world for so long. As a matter of fact, I'm going to start I think I will start with you. It's kind of funny because I was going to introduce you at like 7:45, but somehow in the introduction, we were all backstage talking about the show. I kind of got an impulse to say, why not throw you in right at the beginning? So maybe just a little brief introduction. We have very interesting people. You're all very varied in what you are. So maybe, Greg, we start with you. Just kind of briefly, just tell people who you are and why this show for you speaks to your heart and soul, because I know that about you, that you live very passionately in this world. Am I right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm Greg. I study Well, I play a lot of games, like personally, and professionally. I do data analysis on like kind of spending habits, player habits, and just like what are our relationships with games, and like on and off, even like how deep does it go, things like that. So I love to talk to people who play games of all different age ranges. So for me, this is a really cool opportunity to talk to someone I might not have more of an opportunity to talk with.
And why do you think this is such an important topic to talk about, and why it's not talked about more?
I think right now with lockdown and pandemic and things, games have become even more kind of like centralized in our life, especially like as a recreation. And like we heard at the very beginning, we spend a lot of time playing and still hang out with our friends here. We don't always talk about the impacts on it, and just like we're not always looking in at the moment. And I think it's really important to talk about our relationship with games and spending habits, time habits, and socially how we're able to build through it. I think it's overall though a very good thing.
And aren't you a commentator for some games, or can you tell us just a little bit about that?
Yeah, I do some commentary for some Super Smash Bros. As well as some other games. It's fun to like analyze things on the fly.
So it's
I don't like Super Smash Brothers.
What'd you say, Mike?
I don't like playing Super Smash Brothers.
Oh, Super Smash Brothers.
It's fun when you win, I'll say that.
Well, this Super Smash. What is the thing about Super Smash Brothers that becomes so controversial and so unappealing?
It's a children's party game that has such a high ceiling that it could become a really incredible competitive game as well.
Mike, you want to put your 2 cents in on that?
Yeah, well, I just personally don't like it because I think they took too many characters and mashed them all together, so you lose all the playability of the characters that you have in their native environments because they're trying to make them all work together on one like platformer game. So I just never really liked the control aspect of it.
All right, well, Isla, let's meet Isla.
Okay.
Do you want to jump in on what they're just talking about, or you want to tell us a little bit about yourself first? Tell us who you are, what made you want to come on this show, what is it about this subject that inspires you to be here?
Well, I am Isla, and I am 9 years old. And when you told me that I could come on, I felt really interested because gaming is just games, and the future of the technology is so related that it's like these days people spend so much time playing these games, so it's probably just a good idea to try and look into it and trying to find out how to make it a better opportunity. I am the co-founder of Weekwell School, and so at Weekwell School we also work with games to try and make it more fun and more interesting.
Well, we're really happy to have you on, and as a matter
So you
of
guys
fact,
are like gamifying education, is that right?
Yes.
That's the best
so
way to do it.
you're a co-founder, huh? Are you a CEO co-founder?
Well, I'm the co-founder of Weekwell School, but I am the CEO of Blended Mix, which is a different startup.
Wow.
You got 2 companies. You're way ahead of me.
You are way ahead. Oh my God, Mike. Well, you are starting a new trend on Kids Are Talking, so we're so glad to have you here tonight. And Nick, now we'll go to your generation. Now that we got this 9-year-old that just introduced herself, tell us about you. You've been on before. What I know you wanted to be on this show. This is the show that you asked to be on. So tell us a little bit about you and what it is that you want to address tonight and what you see as the importance of this topic tonight.
For the most part, I just see like the games that I and my friends choose to play as like a outlet for life. Basically, it's just enjoyable, right? Just to be able to sit down and play for a few hours with your friends. It's great bonding. You feel connected, and school sucks. So, and also like I came here with a strong hatred for League of Legends. I would like to point out that League of Legends is possibly the worst game ever. Please do not download League of Legends.
And what is
I rest my case.
And
oh, sorry.
What about Smash Brothers? Were we talking about that before too? You have an opinion on it?
Smash Brothers is like a top 5 game for me, to be
That's top
honest.
5. Now, what
Yeah.
makes that okay in League of what
Yeah.
is it? League of whatever you just said. Is that why is one more appealing than the other?
So League of Legends,
League of Legends.
like Greg said, it's bad almost every single time you open the game. You log in, you've already made a mistake. You click quick play, Summoner's Rift. You already made a mistake. You're wasting time on this by existing on this game, right?
You're already losing, right? You're
So
already
it's
like,
bad. So this is another instance of bad controls make a game bad.
No, it's not even bad controls. It's just bad people in general. Like, what are
Yeah.
you doing? Go outside of your room, do some push-ups, take a walk, something, anything.
So when
Do
you
your
say bad,
homework. What are you doing on League of Legends at 3 in the morning, right?
so I can't help but ask you, being a therapist, like what do you say bad people? What is it? What is going on in the psychology of these people?
Wait, I think before you answer that, just as a baseline, how many hours have you spent playing League of Legends?
0.
Oh, 0. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
I played a little bit, but it was like from what I've witnessed and how it's impacted some lives of people. Not everybody, because there are exceptions. There are people who have other things to do, and that's perfectly fine. But
yeah, but what's this bad people thing and the psychology of these people? Because you're obviously making some kind of commentary about the kind of people that gravitate towards us. What's going on with them psychologically, or what? When you said something about bad people, I mean, what did you mean by that?
it's like a different breed almost. Like you could play CS:GO, for instance, like Counter-Strike. There'll be some like pretty toxic people, like people with horrible attitude. But in League of Legends, it's like that multiplied by like 100. It's awful.
Greg, you're shaking your head. Do you want to just respond to that?
No, I'll just say one thing about games, and it's really a problem with all team games. When it's like part of the reason why it's so nice to do it with friends, when you're with like just some random people and your entire success is on some person you don't know doing well, but you care so much about that success, you might say some things that you might look back on and regret later, or you might not. You might like really just be okay with being that rude to someone. Like those are the things that definitely can be more negative. And I think it's a thing that all team-based games have to deal with. It's part of the reason why I prefer single-player games. I don't need to deal with like that kind of stuff. But yeah, League is kind of notorious for like that in some way because it's like 30 to 40-minute games, and it could all go down to like one person just completely throwing. It's like a football thing, you know, like fights come about on a football field. There's a lot of emotion riding on that little clicking game.
It gets ugly. All right, well, Sume, let's meet Sume. Where is Sume? Sume, so glad to have you here. Why don't you?
Yeah.
The show's already started. You're already hearing dialogue. So before you want to just tell us who you are and maybe have a reaction to what you're already hearing, and just let people meet you. Tell us who you are.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. So I'm Sume, and I'm the CEO of Wequal App. And I mean, I just really wanted to come on here to talk about talking about the dangers and risks of gaming, you know, addiction and how like, people are spending a lot of time on games, but also how you can leverage that to help with learning, to help with other things. You're talking about gamifying education. I think a lot of platforms are doing that. You see this in new platforms like in the education space, where they're kind of gamifying things a little bit. And this is actually something that is just really helpful.
Right, Sume?
Yeah.
Duolingo gamifies it.
What'd you say, Mike? I couldn't hear you.
Duolingo gamifies language learning.
Oh, okay. Very fancy.
It's a really fun.
Very fancy, Mike. Wow.
I was trying to pick up an extra language, and I tested out a whole bunch of apps. Duolingo,
it's funny that you bring that up because I've actually been learning Chinese with Duolingo, and that was something that I was like, I saw that they've gamified it a lot, and it's made it really enjoyable. And so, and yeah, I mean, it's you definitely see it in a lot of these platforms, and it's just
you want to be careful and thinking about like these things are addictive. The goal is to get you to stay on the platform for as long as possible. They're not here to help you manage your time wisely, but it's also you can definitely see how there can be an upside to using it for constructive things like putting it into educational platforms and many other things. So
How
yeah,
old are you? How old are you, Sume?
I
12. We're really upping our ante here, Mike, tonight,
Oh,
aren't
yeah.
we? I mean, and I can see that your friends underneath here is getting a kick out of listening to your friend talk, huh? Isla, what do you think about Sume, her little introduction? Did you like it? You did like it, huh? Sume, what do you think of this conversation? Yeah. What about this League of Legends? And we talk about what you've heard so far tonight. Do you have any response to these other games we've been talking about? Smash Brothers, League of Legends.
Yeah, I would say I'm particularly familiar with many of these. Like a lot of my interest in gaming and like kind of integrating it into learning opportunities and things such as that is, I don't know, more generally, like I don't have specific views on certain games, I would say. I mean, I think I'm not
So you want to harness the power of gaming for good, basically, right? So you should be up on all the hottest games, because if the hottest games are going to have the trends that are going to be the most addictive for learning too.
Mike, are you challenging her?
I'm trying to inspire her.
You're trying to inspire her
to look in unlikely places, right?
All right. So Kieran, we didn't forget about you, Kieran. Let's meet Kieran. All right, Kieran, welcome back. You were part of the movie show, man, part of that frat party we had here a couple of weeks ago. So we know this is another show that you wanted to be on as your friend Nick over here. So tell us a little bit about why you're here, what's the importance of this topic for you. I'm interested also to hear where you see gaming. No one's really addressed it. Where does gaming connect with gambling? What do you want to talk about with us tonight? And tell us a little bit about who you are as well.
I'm Kieran. I'm a senior in high school, and similar to Nick, I just think games are a great outlet. Great to get away from everything, and good way to have some fun. And to your question about gambling, I feel like there's a lot of games that you can gamble in, but not like real gambling. But sometimes that's a bit of fun as well. You get a bunch of people, you go and play some poker responsibly.
So here's a question for all. Thank you, Kieran. Welcome. Nice to have you. All right, now we've met everybody. So we are in a pandemic. This is COVID-19. Would you say that gaming and upping the ante of finding great escapes, whether it's gambling or gaming, is become more important now in America because of what we're all going through? We're so isolated, and one of the things I understand, Greg, that you've talked about is something very communal, because you get to really meet people from all over the country and the world. Am I right when you do these games? So in a time of isolation, is that part of maybe what makes this perhaps a more attractive thing to be talking about right now and getting into? That question is for all of you. Anybody can jump in on this.
Yeah, I think games have definitely taken, or you've seen a big uptick in people playing games over the pandemic. Like you said, we're all isolated, and I think it's given people a new way to connect with their friends, or maybe their family members. Maybe they're playing Smash Bros on the TV or something like that. But yeah, I just think games in general have become a little bit more popular throughout this pandemic.
Greg, I know for you, it's been very socially, you've always found it very exciting, right? You get to meet people from all over the world. Where do you see gaming in terms of socialization for people, in terms of education, connection? What has it been for you in terms of feeling less isolated and being in this world?
So I would say the biggest thing has been socialization. Like, yeah, you said you can make someone across the world feel like they're next to you, but also can make that person who lives next door or down the street who you can't really see also feel like right next to you. Like, it's a way to organize large groups of people or smaller. But for me, it's just been really great to form some new relationships through, common interests. Find out you might, have more in common that extend beyond that game, but that's like the cool icebreaker. Yeah, I'd say with games though, it's entirely up to the game itself as well as what you decide to do with it. Like on the gambling side, like Kieran, I bet you do you play FIFA by chance?
No, not
No?
anymore.
Okay, I saw all the soccer things. I was wondering. One of the biggest games you could gamble on is FIFA or you know, a Madden and NBA where you're opening up packs, like sports packs for a player. And I would say those games can be social, but a lot of times you're just constantly going through the matchmaking to find any next player. You're trying to focus so much on yourself. But even then, even when you're like have a really strong competitive drive, you still have social things within it, if it's people you're training with or just things outside of it. So games are phenomenal for connecting people, even if what you're trying to do isn't really socialization.
Nick, what do you think about that? What's your response to what Greg's saying?
In terms of gaming and gambling, I don't see that like correlation that often. What I see more is like actual websites that do so. So I can't really speak on behalf of like FIFA or NBA and the likeliness of kids our age gambling.
Well, I think that there's a point to like Greg's idea about FIFA. Games like CS:GO or TF2, you can open cases for like $2.50, and there's like such a low chance of you getting anything good. That's basically just throwing money away.
Yeah, that was a good point. I completely forgot about like CS:GO and those kinds of games.
On a very low level,
play games.
What's that, Mike?
You guys are talking about like where you pay to play, so the more money you put in, the better equipment you can get.
No, it's like basically materialistic stuff. It's just buying the most expensive skins or cosmetics or whatever. It has nothing to do with the gameplay.
Isla, what do you think we have to do to bring gaming up to a level of where we make it really part of the collective, and you said getting into the educational system? Like what do we want to do with gaming? I mean, because right now I think it's not seen as a way of life in the educational system. Am I right?
Well, it is true that like these days not many people use games, like use just normal games like Minecraft or Roblox, like things I've heard of, to in education. But I think you can gamify some of the things like learning a language in Duolingo, or maybe typing is a few examples of how people are learning about things using sort of games. And I think one step we can take is trying to see like people are all interested in these kinds of games, and maybe they can, I don't know, learn more about it and the psychology of how you can get it addicted and stuff like that, to try and understand it better and use it more as a learning opportunity.
Is Minecraft seems to have come up a lot tonight before we went on the air. What is Minecraft? Maybe people can hear some of your own opinions about it, and where it maybe applies to what we were just talking about just now. I mean, what is Minecraft, and what is it about for people, and what's the passion around Minecraft?
Well, I think something that differentiates it from other kinds of games is like Minecraft, you're able to really easily code, and it's kind of like a starter for kids, since all these kids really like these games, including Minecraft. It's very popular. So using that, you can code, and also you can have a multiplayer game where you're able to socialize with family and friends. And I think that's just the start to trying to make it more. That's just the start to trying to make it more helpful in your life. But also another thing is that you're able to add mods, and so you're helping, and so that can help with basically just seeing how this technology is improving over time, by seeing these new mods that are coming out and learning how to install it and stuff like that, which is also something that might be helpful.
Are there other games besides Minecraft where you can make your own mods and put them in?
I'm not, well, I'm not exactly very educated in different kinds of games, but I'm sure there are things you can do to other games that are popular at this time, since technology is just improving rapidly.
Greg, it's interesting that she's talking about coding. That's a big part of you. You've done a lot with coding, right? So what do you think about what I was saying about Minecraft coding?
I honestly am not too advanced in coding. I've been learning Python programming. But what that's happening is phenomenal, because Roblox is another game that, I'm a little bit too old to have played it. But I know it has a very big kind of fan-built games community and fan-built cosmetics as well. So it's been having games still like have that bridge between educational and recreational, but still, in the end, it's great for the games, the game maker and the developer and studio, because you're having people do kind of like the work for you. And that's the cool thing about sandbox games like that.
Can you tell us about sandbox games, by the way? Because we were talking about that earlier. I certainly don't have any idea what that is.
It's essentially games that give the player the control. And the game provides the layout, the engine, and it's really can be heavily customized, either like blatantly or through like a back end kind of thing, like they were talking about Minecraft.
So what do you all think about this 9-year-old? Nick, what do you think about this kid talking, huh? She teaching us anything?
I mean, sure, it's pretty enlightening, honestly. See somebody young like teaching us about how games can be educational. So yeah.
And Sume, what do you think about what we're talking about the educational piece? Because you're involved with that in your company as well. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think there's yeah, I mean, well, I think we're thinking a lot about how you can leverage it, and one of that is with programming, is with either modifying games like Minecraft with writing your own code. You can kind of like automate, like making a whole bunch of blocks come up and like in a castle or something, and you can write that with code, also with mods. But another way you can do it is kind of just by taking is by like creating your own games. So we also teach several classes within the school for like creating games in Python with like the extension Pygame. You can also create games in Scratch, but then there's also mobile games that you can create with Flutter. And so that's like another way to kind of just leverage the fact that these things, they're just so incredibly interesting, and that's the danger of it, is that you get addicted to it.
But can you go a little bit into Flutter? What is Flutter? I saw that on your board. You guys are doing a lot of classes on Flutter, right? So you can make an app right in Flutter. It's easy.
Yeah, well, so Flutter is a programming language developed by Google to create mobile and web applications, and so it's something that we've been using for. You can use an extension with Flutter to create games, but then it also has a wide variety of use cases. I mean, because it's a multi-platform like coding language, so it's something where it's only from one code base, so you don't have to write the code 3 different times if you want it on Android, iOS, and the web. You only have to do it once. And so there's a very wide variety of like applications you can build with it, but one of it is games. And so yeah, I mean, I think some parents are kind of concerned with games and kind of like making sure that kids are using it responsibly. But I mean, I think there is discussion around that, because I don't think it's a good idea to just take away like games and taking away the access, taking away access to games, because it's like when you're an adult, there's going to be other things that are very fun and enjoyable, but are also not necessarily very good for you. And so if you don't learn how to use self-control when you're a kid, and you don't learn how to navigate those challenges of getting addicted to something or just letting yourself play Minecraft for 5 hours, it's like, maybe that's not the best idea. But if you don't learn how to those skills of self-control, of discipline, then you're just going to fall trap to that when you're an adult, when you have access to all kinds of other things, not just games, but also things like gambling and many other things as well.
So what are you saying? You're saying we should just allow people to do it, or does it need to be more guidance, or do we just allow people to figure it out on their own?
Yeah, well, I think there's different ways that you can try to approach it, and I think it should be like, when you're a kid, it's a great time to build these skills and have room for failure, and to have like a safe environment for those things. So especially in, like, let's say there's like public servers in Minecraft. You don't want to be jumping on there and giving out public information, private information on a public server. And kind of learning skills like that, that's a really great way for parents and teachers to be really closely working with kids to build those skills, but also giving them the freedom to fail, to try new things, to see how they can navigate the platforms and use this technology. Yeah.
So, Nick, what do you think? I saw you smiling listening to this 12-year-old. What's your response to it?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I was not only paying attention to that, but I was also looking at the sidebar over here, the chat. Oh, Lisa Wolak's here. Would you look at that?
Okay, so what do you see?
I see Boost Boss.
Oh, Boost Boss is back again tonight, huh?
Boost, yeah, I guess so. He's been chatting up a storm.
So what's the flip side, Nick? I know you're. Are you more of a gaming for the games? I know Sume and Isla are
right,
trying to educationalize it. Do you think it should just be for fun? Should we not, mix business with pleasure, so to speak?
Yeah.
No, because I think it could turn into a business if we so choose to do so. But speaking from personal experience, I choose to look at it in more of an entertainment kind of way.
How about creativity? I mean, in terms of it sounds, what I'm learning already tonight is how much creativity and the role of imagination seems to play in the gaming world. Where are we going with this? I'm listening, I'm thinking there's probably so much more to do in this area. So where are we going? And where does creativity and imagination play into it?
Are we talking about like in the games themselves, or like the creation of these games?
I think all of the above. I mean, the experience of doing it, the games itself, just the whole world really of gaming.
Where do you see gaming going? I mean, you've been gaming for probably, you guys are seniors, so you've been gaming longer than anyone on the show. So where do you see the future of gaming going?
In terms of the future of like future games or whatever, I don't really see that bright of a future because, to be honest, games are getting a lot less creative. Like the way they're designed. Like,
now, why is that? Why is that?
It's probably just based on like running out of ideas. I don't know, or maybe it's just us. We're not that entertained by new stuff anymore.
Kieran, do you agree with Nick on that, Kieran?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of games that are coming out today have already been done in some way or another. So, I mean, just from what I see, but I think it also has to do with like our interests. Like, I know Nick and I will probably share an interest in certain games as opposed to others.
Are they too real?
Well, what do you mean, Mike?
Well, when I started playing on the Nintendo, right, it was 8-bit, and Mario was a collection of a couple dozen squares. Now you can literally control a character that looks like an actual human being.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Is that too much, or
I think it depends on like the type of game you're trying to play. I play a game called Tarkov, which is like a realistic military game, and so in that game, I want more realism. Whereas if I'm playing like Mario or something, I don't really have a preference for, like, I prefer it to be more arcadey. So it doesn't really make a difference to me how real a game is. Just
But you know
depends
what? I'll tell you what I am noticing, Kieran. If I listen to my two young guests tonight, it sounds like you agree with them. Are we done now? Or are we reaching a limit of? Are we going to kind of not expand? Because listening to the two of you, Sume and both of you, like, do you think that you agree with these guys? They sound like it's kind of like, I don't know, but there's not really much more to learn or expand on. You agree with that?
I mean, I wouldn't say, I think that there's a whole lot of potential and future for things like virtual reality. There's augmented reality. There's, I mean, I think a lot of it is we can't see the future. We don't know what new technology is actually going to be built. We don't know how things are going to look 5-10 years from now. And I think that prospect is probably going to be very different when, I mean, new technology is being built. And so I would also say that it can be used for a lot of different things and in many different purposes, such as education, but also you can see that there are games being built on the blockchain where people can get money for playing games. People can like there's like items within a game are being decentralized on blockchains. So I think that there's a whole lot of things we just can't see. And so, yeah, I would say that there's probably a whole bunch of new technology and a whole bunch of different industries that gaming is going to start to become integrated into. So, yeah, I would say that you really just can't tell for some of these things because you don't know the new technology that's gonna be here 5-10 years from now.
So, Isla, what do you think about what Nick was saying and Kieran was saying and Sumai saying? What do you think? Do you think that we've kind of reached a wall now, or do you see? Looks like you're feeling very optimistic about bringing it into the educational system and into the language of our culture. Do you think we have a long way to go still? Where do you think it's going?
Well, maybe I don't know much about the games you guys have been playing, but I think now as we go further into the virtual world, it's not only the games you play but the games you create. So with like these new things like Flutter, it's a pretty recent programming language, and so you're able to create anything you want using programming languages, and that's what I love about creating your own game. So also with new games, I think they might be different. They might only have one thing you can do, but that also might be how you look at the game and what your goal is. So for example, if your goal is to just go around doing what you're supposed to do in the game, then it might not be very interesting for a while. But if you try and I don't know, try and figure out different things you can do with it, like adding new mods and stuff, then I think that can make it a lot more interesting. Also, blockchain, you're able to put your game on the blockchain, and that makes it so that nobody's able to take it off. And you can also there are also new games where you can actually own the new tools and own things inside the game. So that I think that can make it a lot more interesting and creative.
So you see a lot of room for creativity and imagination. You don't necessarily agree with Nick. You think you want to open Nick's mind up a little bit tonight?
Well, not exactly. I just think there are different ways you can perceive it, and it just depends on what your goal is.
And there's a lot of talk about virtual reality. Like we've been talking about that. Like Oculus. Have you guys done anything with Oculus? I mean, tell me, look, Oculus is it's an interesting.
Have you used that Oculus, Don?
What's that?
Have you used an Oculus?
No, but I've been hearing that I can travel all over the world and do all kinds of things with it.
Yeah, you can travel the world. You can fight zombies. You can
do all kinds of things. So what about Oculus?
There's workout games now, so that's kind of on the same spin as gamifying learning. You can gamify exercise.
Yeah. So it seems like there's still a lot of room, Nick and Kieran, for us to keep going and expanding. Am I right? If we keep thinking about all this, it seems like there's so many areas to still explore, right? Kieran or Nick?
Yeah, I feel like there's more to explore in the world of like education in gaming as opposed to just like entertainment in games. I feel that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. Well, that sounds more. And how about you, Nick? I mean, listening to what Mike is saying about Oculus, I mean, my God, it sounds like this. As a matter of fact, I will have to admit that my son wanted to give me a Christmas present 2 years ago for Oculus, and the idea of putting that heavy thing on my head
it's not heavy. It's light.
It just looked, it just looked uncomfortable. I didn't see what I was going to do with it, but I'm kind of intrigued by it, actually, in terms of all the possibilities that we can do in virtual reality. What do you think, Nick?
I mean, there's like a lot of possibilities with this new technology, but like Kieran said, in terms of like everything outside of that, and possibly even including virtual reality, it has more potential for education, but in terms of like actual gaming experience, it's kind of on a landslide.
How about artificial intelligence? Does that fit into any of this discussion or not?
I think it does in some cases. I don't know about the learning aspect, but I know in some games there, I think it was an Alien game, I'm not sure, but they made like the AI or the enemy use AI to figure out the player's habits, and therefore the game like increased in difficulty as it went on.
So, Greg, what do you think? You're listening to this now. We were going to have you come on about this time, so it's interesting now. It's about that time when you're going to come on, and maybe you can just kind of tell us what you're learning or hearing about, and maybe ask the guest panelists some questions that you might want to know about. Because that's what
you guys are all extremely perceptive. I would agree that games have become a little bit more one-dimensional. I think a lot of that comes down to games being more expensive to produce. The resources and the graphics are all better. So you need more people, you need more expensive equipment, but the time people expect in such a short time, or even like, less on a schedule. So what we've kind of seen is the free games, a whole built game that you just give for free. So that was like an Apex Legends kind of thing. I think basically what I'm trying to say is the games are kind of like similar to entertainment. It's almost stretched. They're trying to figure out, what's like safe, and taking risks can sometimes be a bit more tricky. But when they work, oh man, it could totally change the playbook, but then people still kind of go back to those safe things. I will say, like personally, I love indie games. I think that's like a really good way where creativity shines, and anyone can make a game. And I think like as the tools get more streamlined also, it really gets to show like the kind of stories that are being told and like the actual experiences you have, even not just in entertainment, or sorry, not just educational, but still within entertainment, you can get a lot of different edges. And the tools like Oculus are great. But in the end, there's still, new tools in different directions to take the same storytelling or interaction element that games really provide, or sociability, things like that.
But go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. I mean, I think all this, all the building and coding and all that stuff's great, but games were made to just have fun. I mean, games were made so you can just take your mind off all that other stuff and do something just, that's kind of not involving your mind. I mean, I think
can it be? Does it have to be either? Mike,
that's part. When I was done with my homework, you go and you pick up and you go down to the arcade and you play games. It was the other thing you do when you're not learning. So I think it's a whole that aspect of it. We shouldn't lose it.
No, Mike, I don't think we should lose it, but I don't think this is an either or discussion. Is it tonight?
No, it's not. I just wanted to make sure that
fun is important.
Fun is important.
Yeah. But Greg, I'm interested with you because in terms of your career and where you're going, there's a future in this world that we're talking about tonight. Is there a way for people to have fun and have a job and really do this for a living?
Yeah, of course there is. but it's a competitive field still, and you're going with people with a lot of resources. But if you have a good vision,
Mm-hmm.
and if you have like the joys of storytelling or creating this world, it doesn't even have to be storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just want to go in a program. Yeah, there's definitely a field for it. And I mean, look, even if you end up deciding that games aren't for you, but you've learned those programming skills are so widely applicable that you could do it in a whole like range of fields. Games are great. It's very accessible through like osmosis into other things, but you got to have a lot of passion for sure to make a career in it.
Well, you have a lot of passion, so I want people to hear. And Mike's talking about the fun of it all. My sense about you, I've known you for a lot of years, that you have a real passion for this, and it's fun.
Oh, yeah, and I think
it's intellectual, and it's creative, and it's intellectual, right?
The study of games, the study of what makes something fun or what makes you immerse, like understanding and having the empathy of the other player or the spender, you know, at any level of it,
really?
Is vital. And talking again with you guys is awesome because it's something that's out of my perspective. Like, but this is something that really helps extend the psychology behind it and the kind of experiences that we all get at different points in our life through games.
What do you mean the empathy? What do you mean the empathy of the other player? That's an interesting. I never thought of it. The empathy of the other player.
If you create a game, you have to have someone play it in order to know how it's really going to work because you know what you put into it, you know? So you could have a play tester to do it. You could do like a market research, but in the end, trying to put your head in the mind of in the body of another person and see how they might come about. It's important for games or any kind of interactive element like this.
To understand the mind of the other player or just what they're...
Someone coming in new, yeah.
Does that make it more analytic, or I'm trying to understand what you mean by the empathy of the other player? Is it make it more an analytic thing, or
if you're creating a game, or even just like if you're creating a game, you need to make sure the player's having a good time or is intrigued or things like that.
So you want people to
do that,
have
you have
fun.
to put on someone else's hat.
So you want them to you want everybody to be having fun.
Yeah, you make a game for the most part. I mean, some games you might cut a corner in order to do this or something like that, but I'd say games are designed to have fun, totally like what Mike is saying.
So is there anything you would like to ask our guests tonight? Because when we were going to bring you on, really about now, is there? You've now listened to all of them talk tonight. You got a sense of the different personalities around this topic tonight. Is there anything that you yourself can take over an interview or ask questions about to any of our guests tonight that's on your mind?
Yeah. So I would kind of say like I'd be curious about sandbox games. And do you guys play in them? So like a Roblox, a Minecraft, a Fortnite. Do you like those kinds of game modes to play others? Do you like to create your own kind of things? I think that's something that's a bit more newer. I'd be curious to just kind of go around it. Or even, I don't know if there's like game modes in a Tarkov or Counter-Strike. I don't really know all of that, but yeah, whoever wants to kind of chime in.
Nick, you want to jump in on that, or Kieran, or anybody for that matter?
Yeah, I can speak on that because personally, I kind of grew up doing that kind of stuff, like the sandbox stuff. Minecraft, of course, was what I spent the most time on in the beginning. And then I discovered other stuff like Terraria, which I still play to this day with other people. And yeah, I just think it's a good creative outlet. It's sure there's a little bit of violence, but like it doesn't like get in the way of what you're set out to do. Like,
yeah, but you know what I noticed, Nick? Don't the best games either require you to kill someone or blow something up?
What was that, Mike?
What's
not required. It helps.
It helps. Yeah, it's definitely an entertainment factor for sure.
Mike, what are you getting at? What were you getting at with Nick on that one, Mike?
No, I noticed that it's true. The best game or the most popular games that are out there require you to either kill something or blow something up.
So let's talk about that a little bit.
Aside, putting sports games aside, but
it's a way of feeling like you have an impact, you know, that you as a player, you do something and you see a reaction to it. It's like a Skinner box. You do something, you make some flashing lights.
So the challenge is to get a reaction out of somebody. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but I mean the Boy Scouts helping old ladies across the street is not a popular game. I mean, although I will say my daughter spent a good hour playing a job simulator in the virtual reality, so that's a whole nother thing.
Are you trying to get it that Mike? Are you trying to get the people to get off on the violence and a way of channeling their anger with?
I'm trying. I don't know. I'm just curious why that's
Anybody have a reaction, Mike?
That's like a typical, you build a game. What do? You have a thing and it shoots a thing and it blows something up. I mean, that's
well, maybe you're
most
asking
games.
a specific. Are you asking maybe this is a specific market that might appeal for?
I was hoping someone would disagree with me, actually.
Oh, anybody want to disagree with Mike? Anybody want to disagree?
I mean, Fortnite and Minecraft, you build something. It's not quite as flashy as an explosion, but you could build something pretty quickly and look at it and say, I built that. It's the opposite of destruction.
It's not so simple then, is it?
It's not as fast, I'll say that. And that's kind of where it comes down to, in order to get someone's attention.
So what else would you want to ask the guests tonight, Greg? Is there any other particular thing that you want to ask them?
Yeah. So you guys are kind of younger. So when you play games with other people, you're primarily playing with people you know, or are there ever instances either with parent supervision or something like that you'll play with someone you don't know, like strangers?
Yeah, I queue up all the time with random people. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It's just sort of how the game goes.
Don't lie, Kieran. You know it always goes poorly.
Yeah, most of the time it does go poorly. But every once in a while you meet a few people who you get along with. And then maybe you'll play another game or two with them. And then maybe like next week you play with them. So I feel like there's a way for you to make friends. But it's also nice to play with people that you do know, because you have a better team dynamic that way.
And you don't have to worry about them going AFK and ruining the game.
How about you, Isla? And how about the other two? How about you two, the younger sect? What do you think? You give an answer to Greg's question?
Well, I think I do. Oh, Isla, do you want to go?
No, you go. You go.
Okay. Well, I think I do have an answer to your first question, kind of about like the sandbox games, and I think it has a lot of opportunity for kind of for more creative type of like of functionality, such as kind of like creating your own blocks, creating your own mods, being able to build your own things that you want to. And so and then also you guys were mentioning artificial intelligence earlier, and I think that does have like some potential where it's where it's like for example in the education space and gaming, kind of having that connected. You can also have artificial intelligence for kind of like seeing how you're interacting with the game, how you're approaching, like what things you're struggling with, which things that when you're kind of more engaged, and you can kind of adapt that. And that's one thing you're seeing, is that the technology of this is rapidly improving to a point that you can kind of see the trajectory and the timeline of like how realistic these games are going to look, and how immersive they're going to be, and how they're out, and kind of the potential of things like artificial intelligence to just make it even more exciting for people, to try to get them to stay on even longer, to try to personalize the experience to the users. So yeah, I definitely do think that that's something that can start to come up as well. And just going back to sandbox games, we've been working with a YouTuber, Bad Ronin, and he's just been like making incredible 3D designs within Minecraft, where you're able to you can make a block pixel by pixel, and to make things that aren't just like blocks, in Minecraft it's just squares, but making more personalized things. And it's just I mean, you can see that the potential of these things are really growing as you can personalize it and customize it and do a lot more things. So Isla, you can
Go ahead. Keep going.
Oh, I was gonna say that Isla could chime in here now.
Oh yeah, Isla, go ahead. I was already thinking we're going to go into the fourth. Forget the third dimension. We're going to go into the fourth dimension with people like you. I'm thinking make fourth dimension. But Isla, what do you think? Go ahead. Your turn.
Well, I think about the sandbox game thing, like it's it's like you don't really know what it's gonna be like in the future, except for like the graphics and stuff. But I think there will be pretty creative games, and if like when you're using a creative game, there's so many things you can do, so many opportunities you can take, and you might actually learn something very useful. Like for example, when we were putting up the mods and stuff, I kind of learned how to do research and figure out how I can download that and stuff like that. So I think in the future there's gonna be a lot more things like Minecraft and stuff. But it might just be better graphics. And so yeah.
So, Greg, want to pick up on that because we're running out of time, but maybe you got one other question you want to respond to what you've heard, because there's definitely different opinions generationally here.
Totally. Yeah, it's so different, but it's aged and other kinds of demographics. I would say one last thing to kind of end with is what game do you hope, or what kind of games, like a genre, do you hope will be released in the future? Or you could kind of describe it, or just kind of say like, what's something you want to see more of in games?
That's a question for the whole panel, right?
Everyone. Kidding caboodle.
Let's each one of you take a crack at that one. Go ahead, Nick. Start with you.
I guess more creative liberty and better mechanics. That's pretty much it. That's all that matters.
And mechanics like control primarily?
Yeah, just controls. Like if the controls are jank, then it's just like unplayable.
Yeah.
Kieran?
Greg's
question?
I don't know. I get more competitive game modes. I'm a competitive person, so
team or single player?
Mostly team.
More team. Sumai?
I would say maybe in kind of like you see that things such as virtual reality and just making things even more realistic, and kind of you see kind of like a Ready Player One type of world become a possibility, and so I think games that are leveraging technology such as virtual reality, like blockchain, so that you can actually own things that are in the game as an entity on the blockchain, and also more tools to kind of leverage like kind of gamifying things, so turning it into learning opportunities, using artificial intelligence to make the game experience more personalized. I think all of these technologies can just provide a whole lot of opportunities to really integrate games into much more than just having fun and so
that's fun is okay though, right? Fun, Sumai, fun.
Yeah, fun is great. Fun is great.
Fun's okay, right? Okay. How about that other one down there in the corner who wants to speak up now? Go ahead, your turn. Let's hear from you.
Well, I think the thing I really want to see in the future is having another reality you can escape to, that's more personalized to you, and not just something that you do that's the same thing as everything else. So what I mean by that is you're able to make your own game as a part of the functionality, and also you're able to really easily get it, and really easily get it by just like some of the new technology is there are these big glasses thingies that looks like a headset, and I've seen some of the videos and it's amazing. So I'm just looking forward to what's going to happen in the future.
You know, I'll tell you, when I listen, I don't know what you all think. When I listen to you, Isla, I think sky's the limit. I'm thinking 3-dimension, 4-dimension. Greg, when you listen to her, what do you think, man? I mean,
well, what do you think?
I just love it, man. I love how what's out there is kind of like just the floor. When 20 years ago we were so excited to like get to this point. No, it's great. It's
And Mike, what
super
do you
what
want
we need in this world.
What'd you say, Greg? I'm sorry. What was that?
It's what we need in this world. Keep looking
Mike,
up.
you want to
keep
jump
working.
in? What's that, Greg? I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
That's all good.
You get that last word, and I missed that one. Go ahead.
I just said keep working up, keep building up.
Yeah, keep building up. Keep stretching the soul, right, buddy? And Mike, you want to jump in about this show tonight?
Well,
before
listen,
we...
I want to see the return of the couch co-op because I feel like that's what I grew up on. You get 2 controllers, you sit with your buddy, you're in the same room or with your friend or your family, and you play a game together. And I think a lot of games are reliant on internet pickups, and you have to find someone that you don't know. And I think that's great, and there's such a great benefit to that. But I think being able to just play games with the people that are in your house is
bonding.
It's fun, yeah. But I think it's getting lost. I know there's some games that allow you to do it, but for the most part, either your screen is split and you can't see or whatever. So maybe virtual reality, will make that easier to do or whatever. But I would love to see that, and I'd also love to see profit sharing. We should get paid to play.
Oh, really?
Yes. The games are making money off us playing, so we should get paid to play their game.
And who should be getting paid?
The best players.
Oh, Greg, you like that one?
I think that's I actually have never heard that before. I'll be honest. that kind of came out of left field.
Well,
I think it depends on the
best
game.
sports players get paid to play sports. So why don't the best gamers? I mean, I know there are gaming leagues, but
I know, Greg.
I
What's
think.
that, Nick?
Let me just say, I think competitive games are primarily a way to get more people. It's kind of like a means of marketing their games, essentially, and getting more people out there playing and getting people to see what the game can do and try to get to that point. There's still limited games that are like that. You're not going to get a mobile game. Like, you're not going to get paid to play Candy Crush. That thing has you. That thing has you in your grip. But yeah, I think esports is a very good means to an end. And
esports. What about esports? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, basically paying people to play their game as a kind of spectacle. I think more games should support competitive play and allow that, because in the end, it's better for your game health too. The how many people are playing and enjoying your game.
Nick, you want to get the last word in? You were trying to say something.
Nick's lost his internet.
I was just going to say.
Oh, there he is. He didn't lose it. Go ahead.
No, Kieran's
the
here.
beauty of technology. Go ahead, Nick. Was it Kieran now? It was.
Yeah.
Kieran.
If you want to be paid for playing games, then do you want to be paid for going to the movies too? Like, aren't games just for our entertainment?
Well, Mike, take that. That's Kieran. What do you want to? You want to get a last word on Kieran's comment, Mike?
If you want to pay me to watch a movie, people do get paid. They're called movie critics.
Yeah, movie critics. That's true. All right. Well, a lot of things to think about. We didn't do a lot of gambling stuff tonight, but I think that probably is another show. There's too much to talk about, all this stuff. Let's do the typical end of the show kind of thing. We want to hear from each one of you. We can start with you, Sumai, in terms of Sumay. Just kind of what people who are watching the show tonight, what do you want them to learn from tonight's show? And each one of you, I'd like to just get a quick little message out to the people watching the show tonight.
Sure. So I would just say that there's a whole lot of possibilities within the gaming industry, and I think that people should just have a lookout as to how it can try to be used in kind of constructive ways. And I love fun. I think it's great, and but I also think that it has a lot more potential, and that hasn't been explored fully. So yeah, I think that's all.
Hope, creativity, and expansion for you, right?
Yeah.
And how about you? Go ahead. You want to say one more thing? Get it all out there?
Me?
Okay, yeah. You got it all out?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh, well, I guess if I were to say one last thing, I would just say that thank you so much for having me on. Yeah.
Well, you're very welcome. You were an absolute delight. My mind is blown from you. And Greg? Our pleasure.
Why don't you have the rest of the kids go first, and I'll say
Okay,
something.
you go. That sounds fair. Okay, Kieran.
I don't know. I guess I think everyone should play games because they're fun and it's a great escape. And from what I'm hearing, it seems like we're only just beginning to expand the world of games.
Isla and Sume, they probably opened that mind of yours tonight, huh? Listening to it. That's really great. That's really great. So, Isla, look what you did for Kieran. Gave Kieran a mind of expansion tonight. So what do you want people to learn tonight from this show?
Well, I think what I want people to learn from tonight is that when you're playing games and stuff, not only do you want to focus on what you're doing right now, but I also think you should focus on how it's helping you in your life. And that can be from entertainment. But I think you always want to think about that and try and make it useful for your life. And so just try and just to try and pay more attention to how that's helping you in your daily life, and also to try and make it and also to try and learn new things in the process.
Love it. Great message. Greg, now you can go. I guess Nick's gone. We lost Nick, Mike?
Yeah, he lost his internet.
Well,
so
Nick, we loved having you on, so sorry we missed your last comments.
He can put his comment in the chat when he logs back in.
Oh, he did, or he will?
Oh, he can. I said he can.
Yeah.
All right, Greg, you were very respectful to the younger generation, so now it's your turn.
What I would say is really to echo all these kids, games are really fun. They're a great way to kind of connect with a story, connect with each other. Echoing what Isla said, make sure, and really everyone, make sure it still like works for you. Make sure you're just learning things, growing, taking care of yourself. But it's a great way to escape the kind of stresses and to kind of bond with friends or kind of new people about it. No, games definitely have been a big part of me, like through childhood, adulthood, growing now and professionally. It's really such a cool, unique medium that's very just distinctive of this time.
Great. And Mike?
No, I mean, listen, I love games. There's probably been times in my life where I've spent way too many hours playing games, but it's fun and it's a great release. It's also fun when you can learn something while you're playing. I don't know. I'm a big gamer fan. So
what do you think of tonight's show, Mike? Because I'll tell you,
I want to learn Flutter. What is that? It's Flutter. It's called, right? I want to learn how to make games.
Yeah, and for me, I got a lot to learn, man, because tonight, more than any show I've ever done, I just like listening and just hearing the incredible wisdom and vision of a brave new world. I mean, that I can't even imagine where we're going in terms of creativity, imagination, fun, opportunity is just way out there now.
Well, we're going to get you to join our clan on Clash Royale, so...
Oh, I'm already intimidated, but I've not been a great game player. But I have a lot of people trying to get me to be a better game player. Okay, so maybe you all help me tonight. Thank you so much, all of you. Really, wow. I mean, we went a little over. I mean, I didn't know how we were going to do an hour show on this night. I didn't know how I could possibly do an hour show on this, but I did it because of all of you. Thank you. You were really all. You brought different dimensions, right?
We have to talk about what the kids want to talk about. So,
but different dimensions. What I really noticed is the real differences of, like, it was absolutely fascinating to hear different age groups.
I think the older kids learned a lot from the younger kids today.
I thought that was really pretty. I felt that way too.
Yeah.
And I, congratulations to the older people who had the humility to be able to acknowledge that and respect that. So, wow. So from all of us, our kids are talking. We're in the new year. And hopefully we're going to continue to have shows that all kids want to talk about and relate to. And we'll see you all next time, and spread the word. Watch the show. If you have ideas for shows that you want to have us talk about, please.
Yeah, visit our website, kidsaretalking.live. There's a sign-up sheet there If you want to be on a show, you can sign up. You can see what the future shows are going to be about. When there's a spot, you can fill it in. If you want to have something that's not listed, we're always looking for new panelists, and we love people to come back. And we'll do a gym episode. So maybe that's going to come up too. So
I think there's lots of things to talk about. And Greg, thank you for, I was going to save you for the last 15 minutes, but I just thought let's go all the way out of the box and just put you on in the box, out of the box, and be part of this to show all the different generations and have great open conversation and dialogue. So from all of us, the kids are talking, Happy New Year. May it be a better year in 2022. Peace, health, love, empathy. I love that word, empathy, Greg. We even got empathy in tonight with the game show because of Greg.
That's it. All right.
Stay backstage. We want to meet you backstage now and have a little party, okay? So
peace, love, and gaming. We'll see you guys.
Good night.
Take care, everyone.